Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. This is an emergency live broadcast. So we gave Donald Trump a huge agenda. We said, Trump, we want you to secure the border. We want you to have mass deportation of illegal immigrants. They all got to go. Not only that, but we asked for a better economy. But something else that we all wanted. We wanted MAGA and we wanted MAHA, the MAGA and the MAHA, make America healthy again. We understand that. Why are our children obese? Why are our children so chronically sick? When you look at where the United States stands when it comes to health, well, it is actually embarrassing. And this is why Trump won such a huge popular vote, libertarian vote. The parents voted for him because he said, we're going to take Kennedy and he's going to be in the Department of Health. Well, today, the hearing is just wrapped up for Kennedy's, Senate confirmation hearing. And it went just like you would plan it to go. It went exactly as I thought. The Democrats were throwing tantrums. You're a conspiracy theorist. You are a vaccine denier. Ladies and gentlemen, and I'm going to play you clips and we're going to look at everything happened. But as I was watching it, here's the conclusion I came to. The Democrats hate healthy children. They want to jab them with vaccines. They want to fill them with poison. They want to fill them with sexual impurity and immorality like the LGBTQIA, ZBD, GBDD, AI, CP3, ZBIMBU crap. All right, I don't know. I know somebody in the comments is going to be like, Vlad, that wasn't the whole gay code. I know, that was about a third of it. Chill, lib with purple hair. But we're going to watch the clips right now. And I want your reactions, ladies and gentlemen. It's sick. It's disgusting. Do me a huge favor. Smash that thumbs up button. Make sure that you are subscribed. Leave me a comment. How's your day going? Where are you watching me from? And look, we just wrapped up Trump's first week of the presidency. How are you feeling so far? Before we continue, just a really quick shout out to the sponsor of today's live, and that is VERITY Metals. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't like the big banks. I don't like the Fed. But sadly, we live in a world where we have to use them. But you don't have to allow them to keep getting rich of your savings and your IRAs or 401ks. This is where physical, constitutional gold and silver comes into play. You protect your money through physical, real assets that can't be printed out of thin air and then, sent overseas to fund wars that have nothing to do with you. Go to veritymetals.com or call them today at 480-717-9081. Links down below in the description. Mention me, get free silver. That's all you have to do. Call, make a deal, mention me, free silver. You can't beat that. Patriot-owned company. Let's continue. First thing I want to show you is this. We're going to be... So, Nicole Shanahan puts senators on notice. She says, vote to confirm RFK Jr. or I will personally fund primary challenges. Now, she was supposed to be Kennedy's vice president, right? Then they both dropped out and backed Donald Trump. She's a multi-billionaire. She's got money for days. And she said, if any senator votes against confirming Kennedy, I will personally fund your challenger. I will make you go bye-bye. Now, let's jump onto Twitter. We're just going to go from clip to clip, and I want, ladies and gentlemen, leave me comments of your reactions as we're watching these, because some of these just go off the rails. Some of these are unhinged. Here's the first one.
Theorist. Are you a conspiracy theorist?
That is a pejorative, Senator, that's applied to me, mainly to keep me from asking difficult questions of powerful interests. I was told that I was a conspiracy theorist. That label was applied to me because I said that the vaccines, the COVID vaccine, didn't prevent transmission and it wouldn't prevent infection. when the government was telling people, Americans, that it would. I was saying that because I was looking at the monkey studies in May of 2020. I was called a conspiracy. Now everybody admits it. I was called a conspiracy theorist because I said red dye caused cancer. And now FDA has acknowledged that and banned it. I was called a conspiracy theorist because I said fluoride lowered IQ. Last week, JAMA published a meta-review of 87 studies saying that there's a direct inverse correlation between IQ loss.
All right. So I'm going to assume
I could go on for about a week.
Is there any one of them that you can say, you got me? That really was a conspiracy theory? Or are you in a
Not yet.
position to submit for the record? I think it'd just be helpful for every one of these narratives for you to submit that maybe for the record.
So did you hear that? So he's like, are you a conspiracy theorist? Are you a conspiracy theorist, Kennedy? Are you a conspiracy theorist? And he's like, well, what's a conspiracy? See, when I first started talking about the vaccine, saying that they will not stop transmission or you getting sick, I was called a conspiracy theory. Well, guess what? I'm right. Then he goes on. Well, he's like, okay. Are there any of them that you can say, okay, gotcha? And Kennedy says, not yet. And that's where he's like, okay, let's stop. Let's move on. And Kennedy's like, buddy, I can do this for a week. Every time I'm called a conspiracy theorist, then 6 to 12 months, everything what I was saying, everybody catches up. Here's what a conspiracy theorist is. Not always. There are some conspiracy theories that are cuckoo wacko, but you're telling the truth before the world realizes you're telling the truth. Now, let's continue. We're gonna kind of derail for just one clip. For one clip, we're gonna derail from the Kennedy hearings. Listen to what Doge has discovered.
Why impose this pause with so little notice? Why not give organizations more time to plan for the fact that they are about to lose, in some cases, really crucial?
Listen, just listen.
There was for a period of time.
There was notice. It was the executive order that the president signed. There's also a freeze on hiring, as you know, a regulatory freeze, and there's also a freeze on foreign aid. And this is, again, incredibly important to ensure that this administration is taking into consideration how hard the American people are working. And their tax dollars actually matter to this administration. You know, just during this pause, Doge and OMB have actually found that there was $37 million that was about to go out the door to the World Health Organization, which is an organization, as you all know, that President Trump, with the swipe of his pen in that executive order.
So $37 million was about to go to the World Health Organization after Trump said we're backing out of the World Health Organization. But that's not crazy. Listen to this. That's sprinkles.
Is no longer wants the United States to be a part of. So that wouldn't be in line with the president's agenda. Doge and OMB also found that there was about to be 50 million taxpayer dollars that went out the door to fund condoms in Gaza. That is a preposterous waste of taxpayer money. So that's what this pause is focused on, being good stewards of tax dollars.
$50 million was about to go out the door this morning, and Trump and Doge stopped it to fund condoms in Gaza. Let me take this up to every liberal, every Democrat, every LGBT for Hamas should be ripping their hair out of their head right now, screaming, how is it Joe Biden wanted to exterminate the Gazan people? He wanted to make sure they don't procrastinate or make babies. He wanted to give them $50 million worth of condoms. Okay, there's about 2.5 million people live in the Gaza Strip. You know, probably there are less men than women because the men there have to go fight, right? I mean, what are you doing? Giving and how many condoms do you get for $1? Like 3, 4? I don't know. So what's $50 million for condoms to Gaza? Your tax dollars. Your tax dollars. This is why I called, on my thumbnail to this video, I said, let the show begin. The Trump administration comes in and it's like I'm watching a reality TV show. Here's our favorite Native American Pocahontas, right? Just going berserk. She just goes crazy.
I'll comply with all the ethical guidelines.
That's not the question. You and I, you have said
You're asking me,
repeatedly,
Senator, you're
efforts,
asking me not to sue
requirements are-
vaccine
No,
pharmaceutical
I am
companies.
not. My
Yeah, you
question is
are.
stop
That's exactly what
enriching
you're doing.
health. Look, no one should be fooled here.
I
As
fought that
Secretary
from-
of HHS, Robert Kennedy will have the power to undercut vaccines and vaccine manufacturers.
I'll comply with all the
She screamed, "No, I'm not!" And then our favorite socialist also has a meltdown.
They are selling what's called onesies. These are little things, clothing for babies. One of them is titled Unvaxxed, Unafraid. Next one, and they're sold for $26 a piece, by the way. Next one is No Vax, No Problem.
The dude is worth like $300 million, Bernie Sanders. They're sold for $26, by the way.
Now you're coming before this committee and you say you're pro-vaccine. Just want to ask some questions. And yet your organization is making money selling a child's product to parents for $26, which casts fundamental doubt on the usefulness of vaccines. Can you tell us now that you will, now that you are pro-vaccine, that you're going to have your organization take these products off the market?
Senator, I have no power over that organization. I'm not part of it. I resigned from the board.
Yeah, that was just a few months ago. You founded that. You certainly have power. You can make that call. Are you supportive of this?
I've had nothing to do with
Are you
leadership.
supportive of these onesies?
I'm supportive of vaccine.
Can you imagine how the world is watching us right now? Do you support these onesies? Do you support these baby onesies for $26? This dude's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Did you know that Bernie Sanders charges $80,000 to come to your university to speak for 1 hour? Plus, you got to pay for the flight, for the hotel, for food, lodging. So, condoms to the terrorists, good. Onesies for the babies with hurtful words, bad. We're living in cuckoo land. Are you in support of these onesies? And the dude's like 84 years old. Can you imagine being 84 years old, worth millions of dollars in the United States of America, charging $80,000 an hour for a speech, and being a socialist, and then whining about onesies? Are you in support of these onesies? How can you be health secretary and support these onesies? You mother screwer. I mean, these people are nuts. I'm sorry. And sometimes I spend so much time watching this crap that I'm like, am I okay? I don't know.
Have your organization take these products off the market?
Why?
Senator, I have no power over that organization. I'm not part of it. I resigned from the board.
Yeah, that was just a few months ago. You founded that. You certainly have power. You can make that call. Are you supportive of this?
I've had nothing to do with
Are you
leadership.
supportive of these onesies?
I'm supportive of vaccines.
Are you supportive of this clothing, which is militantly?
Look, everyone behind is laughing. Look, everyone behind. Look, everybody behind there, they're just laughing. Look, everyone's like, oh my goodness, this dude's nuts. Grandpa, you got to go with Joe.
Militantly anti-vaccine.
I am supportive of vaccines. I will. I want good science, and I want to protect.
But you will not tell the organization you founded not to continue selling that product. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Blackburn.
Oh man, this is good. Let the shows begin. The onesies! They're a threat to democracy. Oh my goodness. So imagine we're going to go from orange being bad to onesies are a threat to democracy. The onesies took down the empire of the United States. The onesies. And then North Korea, China, Iran, Russia are sitting there right now. And their respective, what are they? In their respective capitals. And they're like, who needs MTV or who needs late night comedy shows? We got Bernie Sanders and Pocahontas. These people are nuts. Who's gonna get the onesies? And then we're gonna wrap up with this. This was like, just listen. This is where where Kennedy just shuts everyone down. It's a 3-minute video. We're just gonna watch the whole thing to the end, no breaks.
My approach, HHS, as I said before, Senator, is radical transparency. Democrats and Republicans ought to be able to come in and get information that was generated at taxpayer expense, that is owned by the American taxpayer. They shouldn't get redacted documents. Public health agencies should be transparent. And if we want Americans to restore trust in the public health agencies, we need transparency. I want to say something about what you first said. When I launched my campaign, it was about uniting Americans, Democrats and Republicans. There's no issue that should unite us more than this chronic health epidemic. There's no such thing as Republican children or Democratic children. These are our kids. 66% of them are damaged. I know what a healthy kid looks like because I had so many of them in my family. I didn't know anybody with a food allergy growing up, peanut allergy. Why do 5 of my kids have allergies? Why are we seeing these explosions in diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, neurological diseases, depression, all these things that are related to toxics in the environment? Why can't we just agree with each other to put differences about so many issues, intractable issues aside, and say, we're going to end this? I don't think anybody is going to be able to do this like I have because of my peculiar experience, because I've litigated against these agencies. When you litigate against them, you get a PhD in corporate capture and how to unravel it. I've written 6 books about these agencies. I know a lot about them and I know how to fix it. And there's nobody who will fix it the way that I do because I'm not scared of vested interests. I don't care. I'm not here because I want a position or a job. I have a very good life and a happy family. This is something I don't need. I want to do this because we're going to fix it. And the other thing is we are attracting now a caliber of people to HHS like never before in history. And they're entrepreneurs, they're disruptors, they're innovators of immense talent that are walking away, many of them from growing concerns. They're not coming there for position. They're coming there because they want to save our country. And they're from across the political spectrum. And all these Democrats are opposed to me for partisan issues. They used to be my friends, agreed with me on all the environmental issues that I've been working on for my whole career. Now they're against me because anything that President Trump does, any decision he makes, has to be lampooned, derided, discredited, marginalized, vilified.
We need to move on.
Boom. That right there was a great speech. He said, I don't need this position. I've got a great life, kind of like Trump. I've got a beautiful family. I've got beautiful children. I don't need to be here. He said, but I am worried about the children. 63% of the children in the United States have between 1 and 3 chronic diseases. What the hell is going on? And like he said, all these Democrats that are opposing me, they used to be my friends. They, just a few years ago, they all agreed with me on these issues and on the environment issues. They agreed with me. He's like, the only reason they don't agree with me now is because I stand with President Donald Trump. And if you, and you have to oppose everything Trump does. But not only that, there are big dollars in the Democrat Party. There are big dollars being spent by special interests and by big donors to make sure that vaccines are pushed into the arms of children, men and women of this country, to everybody. There are big dollars that are being pushed to make sure that pills, medicines, it's good for you. A doctor gave it to me. Well, they used to give heroin. They used to give meth, Oxycontin, hydros. They used to give all that. Everything used to be given to you by a doctor before a drug dealer came along. Our drug epidemic in this country started because of doctors. Why were doctors prescribing all those, deadly, super addictive drugs? Because they were getting paid by the pharmaceuticals. There is now evidence, more than enough evidence to convince anybody that big pharmaceuticals in the 60s, 70s, and 80s were paying doctors to not warn their patients that the painkillers they're giving them are extremely, extremely addictive. They paid them money to not tell them to prescribe it left and right, and then they would get a chunk. They would get a percentage cut of whatever they prescribed. So they were giving it out like Skittles. Yeah, this is why Kennedy has to get in. Ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, let's wrap up. Let's wrap up this one. This is it for this one, but it was a very interesting show. Let's see how this goes. And any senator, especially if you're a Republican senator, you don't confirm Kennedy. Ooh, you got something coming. We are going to give platforms and money and a voice to anybody that stands up to challenge you in the primary. We've got their back to make sure. If you're a Republican who votes no for Kennedy, I will even back a Democrat against you. Because we don't expect nothing from Democrats. I'd rather have a Democrat that I expect nothing from to take your seat than have a Republican that's just going to backstab us and disappoint us. Bernie Sanders doesn't disappoint me. I know what he is. I know who he is. I know how he's going to vote. So I'm never disappointed in Bernie Sanders, Pocahontas, or any Democrat. It's the Republicans that disappoint us, that backstab us, that betray us. So if you're a Republican who's going to go against the MAGA agenda and vote against confirming Trump's picks, I will even back a Democrat to fill your seat before I watch you continue. That's how I feel. Seriously, this is how I feel now. If there's a Republican who's just backstabbing us, bye-bye. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, give the video a thumbs up, subscribe, make sure you got bell notifications on. See you in a bit. God bless.